Good evening and welcome to the next segment of In the Upper Room, The Monitor. I'm joined by very special guests, Paulette Winfield, actually John Shumford is next, and Deborah Bromley. And they're all with the Delaware Reentry Consortium right now, as well as some other things that they're going to tell you about. I'm going to start this interview, though, speaking with Paulette, and then we'll hear from John and Deborah. But Paulette, you've had some experiences with incarceration and with the prison system here in Delaware, and I'd like you just to tell the viewers a little bit about, pre-incarceration, incarceration and post, whatever you want to talk about, and if you would, include in that some things about, I believe your father founded the Foundation for the Disadvantaged. So somewhere in there, tell us all about that and just take it away to our viewers.
My name is Paulette Winfield. I'm 44 years old. I've been in and out of jail, on and off of drugs for a very long time. I was very violent. I had a lot of abuse growing up. I was molested. A lot of things had happened to me. I ended up being a very angry, bitter, vicious person. My last sentence, they were trying to declare me as a habitual and give me 45 years. And the process of going back and forth to court, the public defender, he had really just gave up and stopped fighting for me once he realized how bad my record was. And I had been talking to him one day, and I was telling him how I had been praying and, fasting and praying and trying to seek direction from the Lord. And he was like, "Oh, you're a Christian?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he apologized and let me know that he really hadn't been fighting for me or anything. And they went upstairs and tried to help me out, and I ended up with 12 years. In my process at the prison, I began to see a lot of abuse. Guards bringing in drugs, getting the women to have sex for cigarettes. If you remember Kawana Allen that had to miss the children, the two twins, I wrote the newspaper about that. So I ended up being named as a troublemaker there because I started speaking up for the women and things like that. I was the chaplain's assistant, and I began doing things like writing letters to shelters, asking them, for the women that's getting released and things like that. And they just cut me off everything. They stopped me from doing everything, said that I was a troublemaker. They took my job. They put me back in max. They did everything to me. I kept writing my judge for a modification, and finally I got it. God really answered my prayer. And a lot of my drive probably came out of my brother Ronald Trotman, who's 37 years old. He was one of the people that died down at Smyrna prison when they did the whole story with the federal investigation and things like that. And some of the key things in there was how even after, the family kept calling, the inmates had got word out that he was in their bed off sick and couldn't get medical attention. And even after we got the information, the counselors and everybody down there said that he was in the medical part being checked, and he still wasn't. And then when he did get taken to the hospital, he laid there for 8 hours in the emergency room because DOC wouldn't give him permission to work on him. This has really got me to fight for the civil rights of inmates. This has got me with Delaware Reentry Consortium as far as reentry, as far as helping them get a place to live, clothes, food, work on their self-esteem. I know that we violated the law and we did things wrong, but we were human beings. Mm-hmm. We're human beings, and a lot of people miss that. Yes. They label you, treatment services had looked at me as a 3-time loser. I had wrote letters for organizations to help me as far as financing my college education while I was in there, and they was like, she's a criminal. She's been a criminal her whole life. She's not going to do anything with the education is just going to be a waste of money. Do not help her.
Paulette, how old were you when you were first jailed?
I think the first time I was in jail, I was a teenager.
And when was it that things started turning around? You said you were very angry, you were in and out, and you're a repeat offender. What really got you working for other inmates?
What really got the abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I was abused as a retaliation and abuse. I really started changing in there when I started going to the different programs, Alternative to Violence, Thresholds, a lot of programs. The chaplain started working with me. You know, even when she got me to be her chaplain, when she wanted me to be it, they didn't want me to, they was like, you can't trust her. Mm. You know, but she was like, I want her. Mm-hmm. And it's just so much hurt and pain. A lot of people don't realize that most of the women that are incarcerated, mostly all of them has been sexually abused. Most of the ones that are in there now, 25 and under, they've been raised in crack houses. Their parents have been strung out on drugs. So at an early age, they had to learn how to trick, steal, just to survive, just to have school clothes, just to have something, some food to eat, because their parents have been selling the food stamps and everything like that. What do you do with that? You know, they're taking all the programs out of the prison system right now. The Delaware Mentor Program, they're trying to take out of this system now. Anything, almost all the programs that was there to help, the nursing school, the college classes, all of that is, all of the classes are gone. Cosmetology. So most of the women now are just being locked down.
More inhumane treatment.
Locked down.
That's not really
and
helping
if you
people
speak up,
come out.
you're abused. You're being maced, stomped, beat up. I've seen an 8.5-month pregnant a woman maced and stomped by men, you know, beat out of her clothes. That kind of stuff just should not be happening.
No, it shouldn't. Now that you're out, Paulette, you're doing a lot of work, I know, to try to help those that are still in. What, what are you doing? Who are you working with? Okay.
I'm a member of the Delaware Reentry Consortium and Delaware Disadvantaged Foundation. That is my father's foundation in Milford, Delaware. And we have the DDF, computer tech, is where we get donated computers, refurbish them, and give them back to children and students and things that can't afford them for school. We do the outreach, mission outreach, and that's we donate clothes to women and men that are coming out of prison, so they can have clothes to go out for work interview and things like that. We do calling cards, personals, and things like that. And for 2008, I'm working on a transitional house for women. It's called My Father's House Incorporation, and I have everything. I have a building, I have beds and all that. I'm trying to get a grant right now as far as to finance it. But
Paulette, you're extremely courageous in the work you're doing now, and to speak up in prison. Is there, this might be a hard question to answer, but is there an aura of fear that you still carry because of the possibility of retaliation because of your work and because you're speaking out about the abuse in the prisons?
There's always going to be retaliation, but I believe that when it's all said and done, it's going to be worth it. The suffering is worth it.
You're amazing. There's 2 minutes left in this segment, and I just want to give them over to you to speak to anything you want to our viewers, any kind of words of inspiration or just whatever you'd like to discuss.
I'd just like to thank John Schufer, the Delaware Reentry Consortium, AVP, a Center for Relational Living, Chaplain Benita Earl, Miss Grace Martin, everybody that believed in me. Even when everybody said that I was a loser, that I wasn't going to make it or anything, you still stood by me. And I dedicate my life to helping anyone that's in need coming out of prison with anything that you need, education, clothes, food, anything that you need. Just contact Delaware Disadvantaged Foundation and we will find a way to help you. If I can't get it, I'll find somebody that will.
Paulette, thank you so much for all your work. We're out of time. I can't thank you enough, and the Upper Room will help you in any way that we are able to, and we hope to have you on again.